November 20th, 2022. When the final whistle blew in Qatar, football fans believed they had witnessed the perfect ending to one of the greatest World Cups ever played. Drama, passion, giant killings, and a legendary final that would be remembered forever. But behind the celebrations, FIFA was already preparing the biggest transformation in World Cup history. Not a new trophy, not new rules on the pitch, a completely new tournament. Starting in 2026, the World Cup would expand from 32 teams to 48, introducing 104 matches, a brand new round of 32, and more nations than ever before. At first glance, it sounded like football was becoming bigger and better. More countries, more matches, more dreams. So why did so many players, coaches, journalists, and fans immediately question the decision? Was this really about growing the game? Or was there another reason hiding behind FIFA's biggest change in decades?
To understand the controversy, we need to go back several years. When FIFA announced the expansion, its official message was simple: give more nations a chance to experience the World Cup. More countries would qualify, new regions would gain representation, and millions of fans who had rarely seen their national teams on football's biggest stage would finally be included. It's an inspiring vision, and there are real benefits. Smaller football nations now have realistic qualification hopes. New stars can emerge. Fresh rivalries can develop. The global game becomes even more global. But critics quickly noticed another side of the story. The tournament would jump from 64 matches to 104, stretch over a longer period, and require the eventual champions to play 8 matches instead of 7. More matches also mean more broadcast windows, more sponsorship opportunities, more ticket sales, and greater commercial value. That raised a difficult question. Was football truly the biggest winner? Or was the business of football?
Here's where things get interesting. Not every criticism is about money. Many experts worry about what the new format could do to the competition itself. With 12 groups of 4 teams, the tournament now sends the top 2 teams from every group plus the 8 best third-placed teams into the knockout stage. That safety net changes the psychology of the group stage. A team can survive despite an inconsistent start, reducing the pressure that once made every group match feel like a final. Critics also argue that comparing third-place teams across different groups can create confusing qualification scenarios and reduce the drama of the last round of group games. Others point to player welfare. Elite footballers already face packed club calendars, domestic cups, continental competitions, and international fixtures. Adding another World Cup match for finalists increases the physical burden, a concern raised by coaches and players alike. There are logistical concerns too. A 48-team tournament hosted across a vast region demands more travel, more coordination, and higher environmental costs, with analysts projecting a significant increase in tournament-related emissions. Yet supporters of the expansion argue that many fears have been overstated. The larger field has already produced memorable underdog stories and competitive matches, suggesting that expanding participation doesn't automatically reduce quality.
So, is the new format actually ruining the World Cup? Not necessarily. Football has evolved many times before. The tournament expanded from 24 teams to 32 in 1998, and many people predicted disaster back then, too. Instead, it produced unforgettable moments and introduced new football nations to the world stage. The same could happen again. More teams mean more dreams. More fans become emotionally invested. Countries that once viewed qualification as impossible now believe they belong among football's elite. That's a powerful outcome. At the same time, critics continue to question whether the expanded format sacrifices some of the urgency, simplicity, and exclusivity that made previous World Cups so special. Recent debates have focused on scheduling fairness, group stage tension, and whether the larger tournament changes the competition's identity. The truth is, there isn't a simple answer. The new World Cup format isn't purely good, and it isn't purely bad. It opens the door for nations that have waited generations to compete on football's biggest stage. But it also raises legitimate questions about competitive balance, player workload, tournament structure, and the growing commercial influence surrounding the game. Whether history remembers this expansion as football's greatest evolution or its biggest gamble will depend on what happens over the coming tournaments. One thing is certain: the World Cup will never be the same again. Now, I want to hear your opinion. Do you think FIFA's new format is helping football grow, or is it slowly changing what made the World Cup special? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more football stories every week.